Today's ride is about 40 miles or 70 kilometres. We're heading out via Horsham, so I'm over here in Crawley, but I've got to get over to Horsham first. So I'm going to meet up with a couple of the Crawley CTC riders en route.
Okay.
Be heading out Crawley towards Horsham using a route that goes out via Ifield over the level crossing, which I'm just heading round to here. And the bike I'm on today is my Genesis steel frame. It's kind of a gravel bike from Genesis, and I have my Hunt wheels on there, which are 700C with some nice extra baggage and gear that I've got, which allows me to take a lot of stuff. It's also GRX one bike, and I'm quite happy with that for this kind of riding. Really, I'm not out for performance, it's more smiles than miles really, and with it being only 1 degree, it's a lot of hassle really to be on a more performance type bike, which I've got a road bike as well, but this is great for the kind of touring social ride, which is what this is. We're never going very fast on this, it's just more about enjoying the company and having a nice cafe stop, plus also just being challenged by having some fun out in the colder weather.
Woo! Yeah! Woo! Off the road.
These pogies have been great. These are the 45 North pogies. They allow me to have slightly thinner gloves on and getting a good grip on the hoods there. I think I mentioned before that these GRX hoods are pretty bulbous on the top, so those pogies do have a little bit of trouble kind of stretching up over the top. It's not the end of the world, and it only happens like 5 or 6 times I think on the ride where they've kind of slid down enough that I'm needing to drag them back up, but otherwise they're great. It's just if there was a little bit more tolerance in them, it would be handy to not have to adjust them and just shove my hands in there the whole time. But they kept me so warm when the temperature wasn't going above 1 degree today, so that was great.
What about you, madam?
I believe in a good breakfast, but I also believe if you have got the flu, rinse your inside out with continually with boiled water, about 4 or 5 half-pint glasses a day. Boiled water.
Well, my remedy for flu is to get a small Spanish onion, chop it up finely, and put some brown sugar over it and a little vinegar. And then when it's into a syrup, take a spoonful before you go to bed.
Well, I'm a great believer in whiskey. I'm like the Scotchman. I believe in a drop of whiskey warm, and it sort of cures the germs.
Well, there is a good cure in mustard and lard, and you rub the two well together and get a good blend in, and then after it's really, I don't know how to do it, but my father does it.
It's really hard talking with the mouth guard in, but I'll see how it turns out when I get home.
Well, my mother recommends an old sweaty sock with salt around your throat, good pullover, and a good hot water bottle, and sweat it out, and then if you feel that you're not going to spread germs around, then get up.
Morning. Morning. Morning, morning. Morning.
Computers are taking over now. computers and automation. And in the year 2000, there just won't be enough jobs to go around, and the only jobs there will be for people with high HQ, high IQ, who can work computers and such things. And other people are just not going to have jobs. There just aren't going to be jobs for them to have.
Well, heading into Horsham, where we're going to meet up with the rest of the group.
It's usually a bit busy here on our way through. Right in the centre, in the heart of Horsham here, we're heading up towards the station, and sometimes, because we alternate between 3 bridges and this station over in Horsham for our starts, sometimes people come over on the train as well, so it's handy being right next to the station for our start point here, which is at the swimming pool that is just beside the station, which we're just about to arrive at. Anyone interested in camera gear, I'm using a DJI Osmo 5 and I've set it to 24 frames per second, which makes it sort of cinema type frames, so you get a kind of natural motion blur from having quite a low frame rate. I have noticed it sort of juddering a bit. The old stabilisation maybe doesn't work as good when the frame rate's right down, so next time I go out I'm going to put the frame rate up to 30 FPS. So we're heading out now. That was our stop point in the sports centre location just by Horsham Station, and now we're heading out west and south. There were 4 of us in the end. There were 3 of us from Crawley that cycled over, and Adam, the ride leader from Horsham. Some of the rides in the dead of winter like this, when it's a really cold day, tend to be a little lower subscribed in terms of numbers, but you can get a surprise. Just before January, just before the new year, we were together and quite a few people came out on some rides for a surprise for a very cold day to see so many out and about. So always good to get out, even on a chilly day like today. And here we are, just sort of trying to head our way out of Horsham through the traffic first.
There we go. We're going to go up the hill.
I keep my DJI Osmo 5 in a mouth grip, which makes it easy to cycle in terms of having your hands on the handlebars. So great tip if you're interested in doing any filming on your bike is to hold it in your mouth. The mouth guard is something got off Amazon years ago by a company called Pro Standard, really original name, but it means just like that there I can like take the camera out of my mouth, where you sort of compress down onto a couple of mouth grip bits that you actually melt in some boiling water first. So, well, you don't melt them, but you get them to a temperature where you can bite in and then they stay ready to take your teeth, basically like a mouth guard. Allows you to film as you're on the go and to take the camera out of your mouth and into your hand to take a few different types of shots as well.
Can't rock.
So I had the GoPro 12 before I upgraded to the DJI Osmo 5 Pro, they call it. I think they've just added Pro on the end. And not a great deal of difference, but I do like the fact that you can record in 10-bit, which gives you that flat profile to the colour that you can sort out afterwards. I'm using Final Cut Pro to do the video edit, and that allows me some flexibility to sort of adjust the colour with a LUT, which you apply in the application. And it certainly does give you sort of a greater range of colour and just looks a little bit fresher really than just using the native old GoPro 12 settings, which I did, although I understand GoPro 13 I think now has those settings. Yes, you'd be able to actually use the 10-bit recording as well, and I think that's one of the best things. 10-bit recording with a flat profile allows you to sort of boost the image afterwards in Final Cut or Premiere, whatever you're using. You can sort of add what's called a LUT file that gives you a greater range of colour, and that's really what recording in that native D-Log gives you, sort of a really good range of colour when you apply the LUTs afterwards. So yeah, it looks great, enjoying it.
Oh, little canal here.
So we're just arriving in the milk churn, which happens to have a nice brewery beside it as well, but we just use the milk churn that's famous around the world for its cheese on toast.
That's a cute little lotus. Look at that.
It's quite a regular cyclist stop, this one, and they have a great menu, quite a lot of savoury and sweet options available, but famous for cheese on toast. So you can have loads of different chutneys, onion, tomato, various different chilli chutneys on top of it.
I'm beeping. Collection time. Thank you. Follow the dog.
Normally this is pancetta actually mixed on top of that avocado. Still enjoyed it though. It was a nice slice of bacon on there that did the job. Yeah, I was hoping to stop this sort of heavy breathing I do, which is part of the issue when you've got this mouth mount for your camera. From Pro Standard, I think it's called, tend to pick up, or the mic on the DJI Action 5 picks up all of my heavy breathing. So I'm hoping to move to using this external DJI mic, and it'll be a bit further down the lapel and should then actually not be pulling in all of the heavy breathing as much, but just pick up my voice. We split up with Adam very soon after this. This is just a section that's near Warnham, around the outskirts of Horsham. Adam heads back into Horsham, his hometown, and then we shoot back via Rusper to Ifield and Crawley.
Don't fight it. Just accept it gracefully and do what you are told with no argument. Everybody has to start somewhere and be at the bottom of the heap sometime, and this is your turn. You will only make trouble for yourself if you don't accept your status cheerfully and go about your business of doing the best job you possibly can.
This is a really nice section. It's called Wimlands. It's like a farm and a little narrow track road that takes you back in towards Horsham from Rosper. And it is always been a favourite of the group actually, for the sort of end of the ride, or any part of a ride really, that you get to sort of speed down this section up past the farm and then head off back into the sort of trail that takes you into the back end of Ifield.
But if you believe in witchcraft, then Halloween is one of the most important times of the year. Now, I'm in the heart of the New Forest, a forest that is absolutely steeped in witchcraft. There are covens of witches in the forest, each of them with 13 witches, and they all take Halloween very seriously indeed. This is the room of one of them, Mrs. Sybil Leake. She's a housewife and mother, she's 41, she's an antique dealer, and a self-confessed witch.
Here we are coming properly back into the top end of Ifield, which is a nice little muddy trail, lots of dog walkers normally, and drops you into a place called Hyde Drive, which is at the top of Ifield. Go back down past the mill pond and then we're nearly home. So it was cold, and my Physic winter sort of mountain bike boots did a good job of keeping me warm. So did the pogies, had warm hands the whole way round. So I enjoyed it, even though it was like 1 degree. I think a couple of degrees cooler and frosty roads would have been a bit of hard work. I mean, that's what we did last week, was a lot more frost on the ground, but this was great fun. Stayed warm, enjoyed the cheese on toast at the milk churn just in Rudgwick, which is west of Horsham. So a great route. And thanks to Adam for leading it from the Horsham side of Horsham CTC. I've got the Element Roam 2 on there, which is good for about 6 hours if you've got it on and you're using the maps a lot, but generally good for most things. But then I do have to bring a charger with me if I'm going out for a longer day. If I know I'm out all day, it's going to run out.